It's my favorite time of the year, summertime, not because it's sunny outside, because it isn't. It's because Dead Man mode is here and I can sit inside and grease away for a few weeks with my favorite content in all of old school RuneScape. And there are some pretty big changes coming to Dead Man Armageddon. Rebranded from Apocalypse, the world is ending again. Now, we've got a first look blog at Deadman Armageddon. I don't know how much is going to change by the time we get the final product, but I would imagine it's going to be pretty similar to Apocalypse. One thing which is different are the dates. July 19th to August 3rd. That is only 15 days. So 2 weeks compared to Apocalypse's 3 weeks. That's actually pretty short compared to a lot of the recent Deadman modes, which have been on for like a month or so. But I wouldn't say I'm opposed to this because I did pretty much give up around 2 weeks into the last Deadman mode. Everything is basically solved by then, so I'm kind of fine with it, honestly. Now, Deadman, not normally short on controversy, but this time the controversy surrounds the main game because you can now get ornament kits from Deadman Armageddon. Look at this bad boy scythe right here. Now, Deadman is going down a similar path to Leagues, whereby you can buy items in the main game with points you earned in Deadman mode. So, as I'm sure you're probably aware, I can buy a bunch of different league rewards from all the different leagues with my league points. Last year, Deadman points were introduced. You couldn't really do much with them. This year, you can spend the Deadman points you earn on main game cosmetics. The scythe controversially being one of them, because generally mega rare cosmetics, like the Sanguine Ornament Kit from hard mode, Theatre of Blood, are quite prestigious and hard to get. Whereas I imagine a corrupted scythe Deadman recolor isn't going to be so difficult, so people are annoyed about that. I honestly don't have much of an opinion on it, to be honest. Although the T-Bow recolor does go kind of hard. Like, where else is this going to come from? Challenge mode? Like, I don't know. I don't really care too much about it. I'm very, very happy that we're getting main game rewards in Deadman, though. That's been something that's been asked for years and years and years. So it's super exciting to get that across the line. Okay, no, this looks really nice. You're going to have to log in and do some breaches for this. The Mage Arena 2 cape looks cold. So I'm presuming this can be Zami, Saradomin, or Guthix here with the style of this. I like it. Really, really good. The rug looks cool as well, and there is a home teleport. Great stuff from the J-mods, in my opinion. Even though a year ago I was hating on corrupted weaponry. I'm not a massive fan of it, but hey, it's here to stay. I've accepted my place. The $25,000 prize pool is back, and this time it's being split up a little differently. Each of the 5 finale winners will receive $3,000, which I think is good. And that's not just me speaking from somebody that got the $1,000 last finale. Yes. Yeah, I think it's good. I think there should be more of the prize pool allocated towards actual winners than the lottery. There's still the lottery, so you're still in with a chance of winning $1,000. I think Odablock won $1,000 from like the top 20% of players or something ridiculous, which is hilarious. So it just proves that anyone does have a shot at winning the money if you play a decent amount. But you know, Deadman's not coming out for another 2 months, so you've got plenty of time to get stuck into another game like Raid Shadow Legends. You might already know about Raid, but I promise you there is a lot of exciting stuff going on in the game right now. The game is still absolutely booming with over 4 million users, 250 million downloads, 800 champions. You know the score. What's super cool is they're celebrating the arrival of spring in Teleria with a special Spring Hunt minigame event, which is on right now. Players need to find hidden items around the Mistwood, and once completed, you can win real-life prizes like gaming consoles, Amazon gift cards with a total value of up to $10,000. You can also get some really cool legendary champions or other loot like skill tomes. And the giving doesn't stop there. We've got community weeks as well, which are multiple in-game activities for all players. You can get a free legendary champion, Chronicler Adeline, just by logging in for 7 days from April 11th to July 8th. She's a top tier support champion that can put enemies to sleep. So make sure to click my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to get insane bonuses available only via my link. You'll immediately get an epic champion Tyrell, and then after reaching level 25 you get an epic Rector Drath as part of another starter pack. These champions are super strong, and if you use the code SpringHunt24 you get silver and a bunch more good stuff. Find me under the name Solo Mission to join my clan and click on the link in the description to see me on the battlefield. The point system is back, as I mentioned earlier, from Deadman Apocalypse. It's been reworked a little bit, but it's largely the same. It's going to be a lot more balanced this time because last time you could just farm farm the same boss over and over, and it was still the meta over lots of other bosses because you could just get so many kills per hour at Scorpio, KBD, Mole, all those sort of things. So you literally spent your time doing one boss if you wanted to go for points, which wasn't very interesting. This time, you're not going to get very many points at all after 75 KC, so I imagine you're going to want to go around 75 KC up a lot of the fast bosses, and then choose your raid, or choose to do some skills, or choose to do some combat achievements even, because you get points for all these sort of things. I wouldn't say these point values are necessarily balanced against each other very well, but they don't really have to be. That's part of the fun of it, figuring out what's going to be fast and what isn't, as long as it's not the same activity on repeat for 100 hours. That wasn't great. One thing I don't like about the points this Deadman mode is there's a cap on 42,000 points from breaches. That is so low, and I'll go on to say why that is incredibly low, like going forward. The breaches were so fun last time, and they are coming back. They're making a comeback, which is great. Breaches were definitely the shining light of last Deadman mode. They were so enjoyable to do, and they're coming back pretty much the same, just with a few changes. As you can expect, there are a bunch of new breach locations, which will be very enjoyable. Some more NPCs as well to join the chaos, which is great. But the biggest change by far are region breaches. So last year, the breaches spawned at 3 AM, 11 AM, and 8 PM. And in these standard breaches, you just had one breach spawn point, which kept the breach quite localized to a small area. But the region breaches are going to alternate with these standard spawn point breaches every other one, and are set to span a huge area with 30 spawn points. Now, I'm not exactly a J-mod, but I imagine a region breach will be something like, there is a regional breach in Varlamore, and there's literally 30 spawn points all across Varlamore, spawning out tons of monsters. This does one big thing. It makes the breaches way, way more accessible, to the point where you're constantly going to be killing monsters and getting a ton of NBPs, probably no matter who you are, with how many worlds there ends up being in Deadman modes, which is pretty huge, and is one of the reasons why I don't like that there's a 42,000 point cap. In multi, I got some uncontested breaches where I could get over 8,000 points per breach. 42,000 points, what? 8,000 points a breach? That does not leave you with very many breaches to visit for points. So there's definitely a lot more scope to increase that cap. I do like the breach point cap for points, but yeah, that cap will be hit so fast. Region breaches are going to be so accessible, and they're going to be incredibly fun. Everyone will be very spread out. You will probably have to deal with 3 monsters by yourself, which was the most enjoyable thing about heading up to the early breaches last time in the high combat brackets. So yeah, 42,000 points, not enough of a cap. I don't mind that there's a cap on points that you can earn from breaches, just so that you don't have to attend literally every single breach to compete. I think I went to 43 out of 44 of the first 44 breaches last time, which is a bit ridiculous. So yeah, hopefully that increases up a little bit, especially with the new mechanics. Here we go, time for me to get negative. Combat bracket worlds. You know, I lament these. I think that there are far too many worlds every single Deadman, and it makes it uncompetitive, makes people too spread out. Last Deadman, I didn't feel like I was playing Deadman if I wasn't a breach. There were barely any people roaming around the world, but I can tolerate them. I think 5 different combat brackets is way too much still. I think 3 would be more appropriate. 4 would be more appropriate. There was so much player spread in Deadman. I got to this top world and barely saw anyone for like a week, which was crazy. You know, I'm not actually against the idea of combat bracket worlds. I just think there are too many brackets, and some of these brackets don't even serve a purpose. 110s, what's the difference between a 110 and a 126? Really not much at all. There definitely can be some slimming down within these brackets for sure. The next huge thing are blighted overloads. Overloads in the overworld of RuneScape. Interesting to test the waters here in Deadman with these. Now, an overload damages you when you drink it, and it keeps topping you up to your boosted stats. The boosted stats for this particular overload are better than super combats, better than range potions, better than the mage potion. Interestingly, this particular overload does give you minus defense levels, so minus 10 defense at 99 defense. I wonder if you drink the overload, you're to 89 defense. What happens if you drink a Saradomin brew? Do you then decay back down to 89 defense? That would make these pretty rough to use, because you're essentially losing like 30 defense levels in that case for minimal gain, plus the 25 damage you have to take when you drink them, plus the fact that they don't instantly restore your stats. I can see people PKing with these alongside a super combat potion as well, just so when the time's right, you want to go in for your special attack, right? I like that they do this in the temporary game modes. I think we saw in the previous league, they tested the Prez, the Ruinous Powers, and guess what? They were just a bit nah, like no one cared about them. So it's a good job we didn't add them to the game. So it was quite good. Quite a good thing to do. We got some other little tests going on down here. We're removing the defense requirement for Chivalry and Rigor, which is quite interesting, especially with the low combat brackets. You'll be able to use Rigor and Augury on a pure, for example. So just, yeah, it's nice to have different things going on to normal. Different styles of gameplay are cool in these temporary game modes. Corrupted Weaponry is back. And it's a lot better than it used to be. In fact, it's almost up to the point where normal versions of the weaponry is. The accuracy is still all there, and they're now 85% of their original bonuses, which is a bit of an increase. So there are going to be tons of these in the game. Yeah, it's 2 weeks. Fuck it. Let's keep the corrupted weaponry. It's fine. Sigils are back. I think they've become a great part of all the Deadmans in recent history. It just mixes up your gameplay, and I actually did really enjoy using them. I can't lie. Some have been crazy strong in the past, but they've gone through a bit of a rebalancing. A lot of the existing ones, in fact, have been rebalanced. Some of the skilling ones used to be cracked. I mean, stuff like this. Still pretty strong by the looks of things. There are some new sigils which are always interesting. The first one being your Revenant weapons become Revenant weapons with the wilderness effect all over the map. That's pretty damn strong, to be honest, for PVMing. And then we've also got plus 75% accuracy in all styles against all NPCs. That's crazy strong as well. Sigil of Rampart tier 3, increased stab, slash, crush, and range defense by 100. That's like wearing, yeah, wait, that's a lot. Okay, not mage defense though, that's a lot of defenses. Then they've got the Trickster pickpocketing from Trailblazer League. They've got the Trickster boots in here from Trailblazer League as well. Okay, the passive agility, that's really nice. And then Sigil of Ardruit, I don't know how to say that. This increases your accuracy by 1% against players and NPCs for each hit point you're missing. So you get 49% extra accuracy when you're sitting at 50 hit points. So it'll be 98% at 1 hit point. This is very, very strong, and I haven't seen anyone mention this. This is slept on. That's crazy. Think about the 15% accuracy you get when you're in a Slayer task. And now in a PvP fight, you're encouraged to sit low. Oh, that's spicy, because then you can turn around and slap someone up. It's like Darok's effect all over the map. I love that. Chinchompers, barrages, damage more targets, 9 up to 11. That's pretty cool. Good for the final. And then Sigil of Restoration heals you based on your damage, and that works on players, on NPCs. That's also a very strong one. So there are some really interesting new sigils being added, and it does definitely add to the whole experience of Deadman. It's only 2 weeks. All this stuff is here to help you have a crazy fast experience. This is under miscellaneous changes, but it's a very big change. The PJ timer is increasing, so you cannot pass people anymore. You can't get chucked around from person to person, which is nice in single combat, especially if you're less experienced. You should be able to freeze and teleport away from pretty much any scenario. On to the finale. Now, the finale was a little bit of a letdown last time, I'll be honest. It was 5 worlds, so that felt weird in itself. And then the Apocalypse part of it never really happened. There were no NPCs in the final area. That has to change. They have to put NPCs in the final area, and that is the plan for the finale this time. But possibly what's more interesting about the finale is they're planning on doing 5 different finales, all staggered. So maybe, half an hour apart. And the staggering is by combat bracket. So the first finale will be the 3 to 50 combat level world. So it's all going to be level 50s in that final zone, which is something we've never seen before. I think that's really, really interesting. And the next one will be 51 to 70. Then the next one will be the pures. And that'll be like the mid-levels. Then it'll be the mains. So there's no hiding in clans. I suppose you can hide further down in the combat bracket worlds. But this is really interesting. I probably will make 5 accounts and play in all 5 finales. That's going to be possible in this finale format. And I'm very much looking forward to that. Like, what's the best build to try and survive with all the monsters there when you're a level 50? That we're going to have to try and work it out, because that's what we're going to be doing in the first finale. Or you can just play the normal way with Barrage and take part in the main finale. But that staggering is a super cool feature. I absolutely love it. These split finales are really exciting to me. I know it sounds so hypocritical because it's based on the combat bracket worlds, but having different strategy for each one is really cool. And with the NPCs in the final area, I think it will make for a lot more than just, oh, Barrage North, but yeah, no one cares, bro. And on top of that, everything is transferring to World 45, which nobody seems to care about at all. And this is actually an interesting thing, because there's no 1v1s at the finale. The World 45 transfer has been tried once, and that transfer gave items a perceived value during the first 2 weeks that, oh, they're going to be worth something because they're going to go to World 45, so don't sell them for 2 GP. But now that cat's out the bag a bit, so items are not going to be worth very much at all throughout this whole Deadman. I don't think, anyway. I'm not no economist, but there isn't something giving them that value at the end of the road like the 1v1s do, or the previous World 45 transfer did, because of the perceived value. But it's just not there anymore. So everything's going to be pretty cheap this Deadman mode. It's going to be cheap, cheerful, casual, friendly, and just a bit of fun. I think you've got to let go of Deadman's a competitive thing, because it's just not really anymore. I've made peace with that in my soul, and I'm really looking forward to Deadman Armageddon. I think it looks super good.